How's it going, everybody? Jersey. Hello, Paul. Yes, Doobie Brothers is a great band. Thanks, Jersey. Appreciate that. So yesterday, at least I think it was yesterday, during the live stream, somebody suggested to do something on rhythm. Don't remember who it was. I'm terrible at that kind of thing. Butterfly effect. Hello. Oh, thank you, Paul. Appreciate that. So somebody brought that up about doing on rhythm, and I had mentioned the Doobie Brothers. So I'm going to go over 3 riffs with you that I feel are really, really great exercises for developing your rhythm playing and stuff and your timing. They're not real easy, and they ain't going to be something you just pick up. Well, I mean, you could. I mean, it just depends on your skill level, but it's not a simple thing to do. But anyway, I just did it over and over and over and over again for a long time, and then I really feel like that it helped out a lot with my rhythm playing. Hello, Glenn. Crit, welcome. Was it Butterfly that said that yesterday about the rhythm? My memory is for garbage. Oh, okay. Well, awesome. Well, this one's for you then. So as usual, there is a link in the description where you can download the tabs for what we're going to be going over tonight. So I'll give everybody an opportunity to do that. And then we will get to it. So if you like what I'm doing, hit that thumbs up button. Leave a comment. Let me know that you like what I'm doing. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. All that good stuff. Yes, Long Train. All right, so I hope everybody's had a chance to download those tabs. So what I tried to do is put these kind of in the order of difficulty, so that way, as you work your way through them, you will like when you work with the first one, that'll start your skill set to play the second one, so on and so forth. All right, so the first one we're going to look at is a riff from China Grove. So this one is a really good kind of a starter to work in mute strums. So that's kind of the big thing, that when you're playing just by yourself, if you can get those, where you're you can get those mute strums in there, it really kind of carries the song and makes it sound a lot better when you're playing by yourself. And as you get better at this, you'll actually kind of figure out how to adapt it to songs that don't already have things like that in it. And you can even get to the point where you don't even have to think about it. You'll just do it. Uh, so it's pretty cool. So this one here, we're going to be doing the major bar chord shape with the root note on the A string. So we're doing E. So here I've got my first finger on the 7th fret of the A string, and then my third finger is barring the 9th fret of the D, G, and B string. Now, if bar chords are difficult for you, or you're new to bar chords, this is going to be pretty rough, because this is all of these are made up with of bar chords for the most part. So what you can do in lieu of that, if you're having difficulty getting all of this, is you can just actually play just the power chord. It's going to sound a little bit different, but it's not enough to really make a huge difference. All right, so on this first measure here on China Grove, and for anybody that's just joining us, there's a link in the description where you can download these tabs. We start with this E, and we're going to play 2 quarter notes, and then so 1, 2, and then when we do 2, we want to slide out of it. So it's like 1, 2. Then starting on the downbeat of 3, we're going to start doing the mute. So that's what, in case you're not familiar with that, how it looks on the tab, you can see that it's just X's. And if you even look on the sheet music part of it, it's just little X's, little indicating that it's just, muted, percussive. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do 8th notes for beats 3 and 4. So what I do is when I slide out of it, then I've just got my fingers across the strings, and then I just do the 8th notes, 3 and 4 and. So it's like 1, 2, 3, and 4 and. But I forgot to do the slide. So you can see when I slide out of it and I do this mute, I start just migrating back up, so I'm ready to drop on that chord. So when you're doing this, you're just lightly touching the strings. You don't want to press down where you're actually fretting anything. You just want to be touching the strings. So that way when you strum, you get that nice, just that percussive sound. So that's the first 2 measures. So I know for probably most of you that concept there isn't too hard to get your head wrapped around. But if anybody has any questions, or they're not sure what to do or how to do it, now is the time to ask before we get too far involved with that, or with this. All right, so like I said, that's the first 2 measures. So you do that twice. Okay, then starting on the 3rd measure, we're going to do D. So all we're going to do is take the shape that we were doing here and move it down a whole step. So now you're picking up the 5th fret of the A string and the 7th fret of the D, G, and B string. And we're going to play, this is where it starts to get a little bit more complicated. So we're going to play this first strum of this is an 8th note on the downbeat of 1. And then on the end of 1, we're going to mute. And on the downbeat of 2, we're going to mute. And then on the end of 2, we're going to go to an A over C sharp. So an A over C sharp is if you just take your regular old A chord, but we're going to change the bass note to a C sharp. So we got to pick up the 4th fret of the A string. So when we come here on that second third measure, we're going to be 1 and 2 and 3 and then a regular A, 4 and. So it's like back, dank, dank. It. Well, if you're familiar with the song, you know what it sounds like. But whoops. Then the last measure starts off 1 and 2, 3, and then we go to the E string 7, 9 open. So and 4 and then the whole thing would just repeat. Hello, Paul. Welcome. What's your thoughts on palm muting? I like it. It's cool. It's like it's a pretty big part of probably better than half of everything I play has got palm muting in it. Hello, Oscar. Welcome back. How goes the destruction reconstruction? Oh, you hurt your back? I'm sorry to hear that. I can relate. I got lots of back issues. All right, so that's China Grove. So the big thing with that, if this is like completely new to you, like doing this at all, I would just start with just playing that first measure and just work on that. Just get the. And like I said, if you can't quite get the whole bar chord, you could just do the. Oh, okay. You're saying palm muting instead of using my fretting hand to mute. Okay, well, for this particular thing, if you would have to. It just doesn't sound. It doesn't quite sound as good, and as you'll see with the next ones we're going to be looking at, they've got more of almost kind of like a funk style strum. So it makes it just wouldn't really work to do it that way. I mean, it's like they're two totally different things. They're both for muting. Palm muting generally is more of a dampening than a mute altogether. What was the chord after A over C sharp? It's just A. So you do the A over C sharp and then a regular A. Anyway, Glenn, I hope that answers your question. Oh, you are welcome, Paul. Yeah, so if you did it with just you could do it with just the power chords, but it doesn't quite sound the same. But what we're trying to really get out of this right now is just the rhythm part of it, the strumming part of it, the chords, having a more complex chord or whatever. That it's not super relevant right now to it. All right. So does anybody have any any questions about this. The A over C sharp, you're having an issue with that. So what's the problem that you're having? If I had to guess, what most people end up having a problem with is that their third finger ends up muting the D string. If that's the case, try rolling around, this way more, or using your pinky instead of your third finger. So I can do it this way, and it's just a matter of just, rolling in, like we've talked before, you always want to keep this arc in your wrist. So that way, when I roll my elbow towards the back of the guitar, it makes me come up more on the tip of this finger so it's not dragging across. Is that the issue you were having, Butterfly? Yeah, so try those. Try what I was just talking about there. That should help. All right. So for anybody that's just joined us, there is a link in the description for the video where you can download the tabs for what we're looking at here. All right, so you work on it like that. If you're new, it's just mostly about getting that where being able to know where those downbeats are and to be able to play. This is pretty straightforward because it's just quarter notes and eighth notes. It gets a little bit more complicated as we move along. All right, so we're going to look at the next one then, and this is riff from Listen to the Music. So again, oh, so you mean like the bar chord like this? So like, yeah, I mean, if that works for you, it's there's nothing. They're both A's on the same octave. Yeah, if that's easier for you or whatever, that's totally cool. Yeah, so listen to the music. We're barring again, but now we're doing a little bit easier of a bar. We're actually doing the same thing if you're playing an A here, where you're picking up the D, G, and B string all on the same fret. We're just doing it up here on the 9th fret. So first finger, 9th fret, D string, G string, and B string. All right, so this one here, we actually start off. We got these pickup notes. We're going to play the 9th fret on the A string, and we're going to pick that and do a hammer onto the 11th fret. And then immediately start to do that chord. So in this case, it's an E over B. But okay, and then immediately we're going to do the mute. Then we go right back to this one here. Like I said, the timing is a little bit more complicated. So if we look on there, when we do this is a 16th note, this is an 8th note, and that's another 16th note. So this takes care of beat 1. So we just hang on this 11th fret here for a little bit longer than the other 2 notes. Then we've got 2 mutes that are 16th notes. and then the chord not muted again as an eighth note. So then we have 4 16th notes. And a mute, 2 strums, and then we do that's the first measure. Then on the second measure, we do the same thing, but we do the 9 hammer to 11, but we start with a mute. Now, if you watch when I'm playing this, I will all the time not get that as a mute. I'll go like how it is on the first measure. So on the first measure, it's the opposite. Now this one, we start with the mute. So I'll do that a lot, and it's probably because I don't. It's not like I play this all the time anymore. So I'm kind of rusty on it. But I really was noticing I was practicing these a little bit before I got on, and I just noticed that I kept doing that. Okay, now we're going to do something that is going to be difficult if you haven't worked with this before. So what we're going to do is a hammer chord. So we're going to do this where we're barring here the E over B, and then we're going to hammer simultaneously our middle finger to the 10th fret on the B string and your third finger to the 11th fret on the D string. Now, in theory, it seems like, oh, that shouldn't be too difficult. And if you've never tried to do this before and it's easy for you, consider yourself lucky, because it's not for most people. So what it is, we have to operate both of these fingers at the same time, make them land, and not mute the G string, not touch it and disturb it. So you got to be precise with it, and you have to do them both at the same time. And your middle finger is more, dominant than your third finger is. So it has a lot more priority in your brain than this finger does. So it's kind of weird. You have to kind of, get used to it to doing it. But there's like so many cool riffs that do that. Like the other Doobie Brothers riff we're going to be doing has the almost the exact same thing in it. So we do the and this is weird where it comes in. So 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and so this part is like is kind of tricky to get it down. Whoops. Dang it. So when you get to the end of it, then you have to immediately go back to that. So it's kind of tricky to get it, but this is a really great exercise for developing your rhythm playing. Yeah, so it's kind of tricky. So just like with the first one, you're going to want to work, just work on it slow. Don't even really worry about the speed too terribly much. It's not so much what we're looking here with speed, it's just getting these weird the mutes in there and stuff. So it makes the song kind of carry itself where it's almost like, you don't need a drummer. Uh, but you do. So, does anybody have any questions about this? I know that was kind of a lot right there. That's a lot of stuff for two measures. Oh, thank you, Crit. Sorry that you're not feeling any better yet. We can still party like rock stars, just can't recover like them, right? Yes, they did. They did, Terry. That there's the Long Train was the first one that I learned, and then I learned China Grove, and then listen to the music wasn't until later, and I was just like, oh my god! It's like every time I play something by them, it gets harder than the last one. All right. So yeah, with this, aside from the getting that, that kind of funky, percussive rhythm in there, is that hammer chord. So you have to do a pull off with it too, and I don't think I said that. So when you don't want them to, you got to pull them off at the same time, but you don't want it to just be a lift off. You have to kind of drag down just a little bit so it kind of plucks the string on the way off. So doing it with two fingers at the same time on two separate strings that aren't right next to each other is a little bit tricky. Okay, so the last one is riff for long. Oh my gosh, Long Train Coming. Alrighty, I need better help. Yeah, so that's pretty funny. All right, so this one is, like I said, it was kind of similar to the. But what we're going to do is we're going to move it up a half step, and we're going to bar all the way across the 10th fret, and then that'll have us. So we're going to be doing that same hammering into the chord. So now we'll be hammering our middle finger onto the 11th fret of the B string and the 12th fret of the D string. Oh my gosh, sorry. Okay, so this is the first one that I learned, and I really feel like that this had a lot to do, with me developing, my rhythm skills and stuff. So this we start off with the mutes, and it's on, like, we rest on three and the first three beats, and then on we rest on the downbeat of 4, and then the last two 16th notes of 4 we just start off with. So it's got two quick mutes. So all I'm doing is keeping my fingers here ready for this chord where I've just got them released. So it's just the muted, that muted sound. So that's right. Like I said, that's the and then on the downbeat of 1, just this. We're just barring all the way across the first 5 strings of the 10th fret. And then this is a 16th note. So we got 1 E and 2 E and So this makes it kind of strange that we do this strum here on the downbeat of 2. It makes the whole thing kind of feel kind of off, but it's just like part of the sound of the song. So we do the 2 mutes, then we hammer into the chord, and then E and 3 E and 4 and it's not really 4 and, it's like on the downbeat of 4. We strum this on the downbeat of 4, the first 16th note, and then so we hit it again, and so it's ringing out. It's a dotted quarter note, so it's going to ring out for the duration of the beat. So it's just going to make it a little longer. Getting ahead of myself. Okay, and then on the 3rd measure, we strum, pull off, and right back into not pull off, hammer on G's. So this one is starting on the 2nd measure is actually exactly the same as the 1st measure. It's just we got not the 1st measure, the 2nd measure. First measure is just but then after we do the E and, so again, we're having to hammer on with those 2 fingers at the same time. So if that's hanging you up right now, which everybody struggles with this at first. So the big thing is get your fingers on for the chord, make sure it sounds good, and then try to lift those 2 fingers off and try to keep them kind of in that same shape, because when you lift them off, they're just going to want to do this. They're just going to want to go back to being side by side. So try to keep that shape, and then when you hammer both at the same time. So that's actually a good way you could practice doing that, is just if at first you're probably going to do this finger's going to want to go down first. Just keep your eyes on, so you're watching what you're doing, and just focus on making them both land at the same time. Oh, thanks, Freedom. Thanks for joining us. Have you been here? I didn't. It's the first time I've seen you pop up, I think. Yeah, thanks. All right, so those are, like I said, the three, and if you do them in, work with them in that order, and it isn't going to be something that you're necessarily, going to do all three of them right now. I would work on the first one when really start getting where you're good at counting and coming in on the downbeat or the offbeat or whatever situation might be, and the mute. Then you can move on, to the next one. Kind of just keep doing the same thing to work up. Yeah, I've always liked this song too. I never even heard anything of theirs except what was like played on the radio and stuff until later on in my life, and they have a lot of good stuff that never got played. All right, so does anybody have any questions about any of this, or just any guitar questions in general? I feel you, Freedom. I act sane every day. Thanks, Crit. Appreciate you. Appreciate being here. Hope you get feeling better. All right. Well, if nobody has any other questions or anything, then I guess we could wrap this up. But I hope that this was helpful. Like I said, I really feel like that these, were like it was like a pinnacle thing in my playing to learn those. How do I play bass? Yes, I do play bass. Well, I mean, I don't play all the time, but I can play bass. I'm not, like Geddy Lee or anything at it, but I teach beginner bass students and stuff. I've never played bass live or anything that I can think of. Played on like some recordings and things like that, but I've never like performed on the bass. Possibly, maybe I did like in junior high or something, but I don't remember if I did. No, Oscar, this is a Spear. I don't remember the model. It's an RT 200 HG, I think, but I'm not 100% sure. Memory sucks. And you are very welcome, Terry. Thanks for being here. All right. Again, Terry, thanks. I really appreciate you being here. And I'll be back next Tuesday. Same bat time, same bat channel. All right. Oh, thanks, Rick. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Oh, you are very welcome, Butterfly. I hope that that was somewhere along the lines of what you were thinking when you suggested this. But again, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out. Really appreciate it. You know, if you like what I'm doing, hit the thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Leave me a comment. All that good stuff. All does their the YouTube algorithm thing, but it also helps to show the Guitar Control that I'm doing a good job and I can keep my job. So that'd be great. Totally, Freedom. Yeah, especially with a lot of the stuff with chords and stuff. I think that a lot of that is uh, kind of lost now. Like I mean, I see these new guys like that. I keep talking about it, like Polyphia and Dance Gavin Dance, and they're using like all these crazy jazz chords and stuff. But it just seems like for a long time there just wasn't being music that was being made that had all of the textures that a lot of the stuff from the 70s had. All right. Well, again, thanks everybody. Really appreciate it. And if you didn't already, like I said, there's a link in the description where you can download the tabs for those Doobie Brother riffs, and then you can watch the rerun if you need some, in case you got here late or whatever. All right. But again, thanks everybody. Really appreciate it. I will see you all next Tuesday. I hope everybody has a good night, a good week, and a good weekend, and all that jazz. And I'll see you next week. Thanks again, everybody. Have a good night.